the Eye Care Program. 35 years of alcohol, drug abuse, and violence prevention. Serving the East Baton Rouge Parish community since 1981.
Hi, I'm Holly Sheets with the Victim Witness Coordinator for the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Baton Rouge, and I've got Sergeant Brian Firmin with the Baton Rouge City Constable's Office with me today. We represent Louisiana law enforcement for gun safety. Louisiana ranks second in the nation in accidental gun deaths amongst children, and our mission is to promote firearm awareness and accident prevention. So I know what some of you may be thinking, if you don't own guns, that this doesn't pertain to you, but really it does, because the likelihood that a child will come into contact with a gun is pretty high. You know, guns are a part of our society whether we like them or not, and so they may find them in someone's car or in someone's home or in a park. And so children need to know what to do when they find themselves in that situation to prevent these tragic accidents. Two things that is always the case in these accidents is real guns are mistaken for toys, or they thought the gun was unloaded, and then unfortunately those accidents happen. Now, when we talk about the difference between real and toy guns, the notions are all the same, that you can tell the difference because of the colors or markings, the little orange tip, the size, the weight, the material that it's made from. And so we have with us today some props that dispel all of those notions so that you can understand how difficult it is to tell the difference. And the message that we stress throughout our programs when we teach children is to simply leave a gun alone, don't touch it if they find one, and to walk away and go tell an adult so that an adult can secure that firearm. So what we'll do is start out with some props, Sergeant Firmin, and so that you can understand how dangerous it is to tell the difference.
Okay. Well, thank you, Holly. Today we brought some pictures, and we also brought some real guns, and we brought some toy guns to help dispel those myths about what's real and fake. And like Holly said, you know, a lot of the kids these days they think they can tell the difference by the color or the weight. Well, I brought some pictures today, and this one right here happens to be the real thing. And we bring this picture to let them know that, you know, although this one's painted a whole bunch of different colors, it's still real. So you can't always tell by the color. This one here is actually an evidence box. And this one also is a fake gun. And this one right here cost a young man his life. This is another fake gun, and you can tell by looking at it how real they make these toy guns now, how real they make them look. Even this Hello Kitty is real, and as you can see, I mean, it's painted just like the doll itself. This one here is an old Nintendo throwback, I guess, and it's also real. The only thing they did with this, they put the word Nintendo on it, added a couple of things to make it look like a toy, but this is actually a real gun. This one here is also real. Now you can see it has the orange tip on it, but it's real. They painted the end of the barrel orange to make people think that it's a fake gun. So very hard to tell these days between real and fake. You can no longer tell by the color or the weight or what it even looks like. The props I've brought with me today, just to show you, the one here in my left hand is the real thing. The one here in my right hand is a fake. Now, just by looking at them, or even looking down the barrel, very hard to tell. Very hard to tell. The toy here actually functions like the real thing. The slide works, the hammer comes back, but it is a toy. This is the real one. It works the same way. Slide goes back and forward, and they look almost identical.
Can you show them the orange?
Yeah. The real one here, if you open it up and look in it, part of the magazine in here is orange. And a lot of kids these days equate that to being fake. Well, once again, that's not the case. Here we have a couple of revolvers. The real one is in my left hand. The toy is in my right hand. The toy, as you can see, functions the same way as the real one. If I take the real one, drop it on the table here, you can hear the sound it makes. The toy here, I'm going to drop it, it makes the exact same sound. Although this one is a toy, it weighs the same and functions the same as the real thing. It's made out of the same material as the real thing. It even has on the handle the marking for Colt, the gun maker. But it is made and sold as a toy. Now, also here, a lot of kids think the size makes a difference. Well, here in my left hand, I have a .22 Magnum pistol, North American Arms. Real thing. Here in my right hand, I have a .32 caliber revolver. As you can see, both of these guns are very small, but they are real. The one in my left hand has a 5-round cylinder. It holds 5 rounds. But look how easy it fits in the palm of my hand. So, very hard to tell by the size these days. Very hard to tell by the size. The last one I brought with me is a replica of a semi-automatic 9mm. That's right, it's a replica. In your hand, it looks like the real thing. So, as you can see, it's very hard to tell these days between real and fake. So, kids have to be extra careful when they're around their friends and these things show up, because they look like the real thing.
We also stress to children and to the older students that if they find themselves in a situation with a group of others and somebody brings a gun and wants to start playing with it and showing it around, we talk to them about peer pressure and ways to get out of that situation that can help save their life, possibly. And I think movies and video games and TVs have really desensitized society, and we have a false sense of how dangerous these guns really are. So, for instance, an average bullet can travel the length of 3 football fields in about a second. that's in the blink of an eye. So what we see on TVs and video games of the cool matrix moves, ducking and dodging bullets, that is not reality. And on average, a bullet can travel much further, maybe up to a mile. And then not to mention when the barrel, when the bullet leaves the barrel of that gun, it's about 300 to 400 degrees hot. So if someone were to get shot, there is a chance that you can survive. However, you're now burned, and then you have the bullet wounds.
We also want to stress to them that once the bullet leaves the barrel of that gun, that is it. There's no taking that back. There's no saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think that was going to happen. What's done is done at that point. And like Miss Holly said, this is not a video game. This is real life. There's no hitting a reset button or a respawn button on a video game. At that point, what's done is done.
Right. And unfortunately, last year, 24 children across the state lost their lives because somebody was playing with a gun. And we're not talking about bad guys. This is kids finding themselves with a gun nearby and picking it up and playing with it, and somebody getting hurt or dying. So, one other thing that we like to stress to them, another thing, celebratory shootings. 4th of July and New Year's Eve, there's a lot of that pop fireworks, but then there are some who shoot up in the air. And that's really dangerous too, because that bullet doesn't come back down in the same path that it went up, and it comes back with the same force and velocity as it went up. And you can't predict where that bullet goes, and it has been known to come down and strike people in the head and kill them. So what else do we normally talk about? Culpability. These accidents, it's 100% preventable. And what we like to stress, and maybe people don't realize, is there are criminal charges that can and have been pressed against the shooter, regardless of whether it was an accident or not. It could be negligent injury, negligent homicide, second-degree murder. We've seen all of those things. And so the age of culpability here in Louisiana is the age of 10. So, when these accidents happen and then there's criminal charges pressed, it's actually compounding the tragedy. So now you've got 2 lives that are ruined, all because someone made a bad decision to pick up a gun and play with it. So throughout this demonstration, this is why we stress to children, if they find themselves in a situation, just to walk away and go tell an adult and let the adult handle that.
We also want to stress to them, if they're at school and somebody finds one on the playground, go find the teacher, tell the teacher or administrator where that gun's at, and so we can come get it. The police can come get it. Same thing if they're at a friend's house. If somebody takes one out and maybe finds one in the nightstand or in the closet and brings that gun into the living room to show everybody or pass around, we want the kids to just leave. We want them to make some kind of excuse, hey, my mom said I had to come home, I have homework to do, something to get them out of that situation. And when they get to where they're going, tell a responsible adult, hey, y'all need to know that, they're playing with a gun over there. And hopefully that can prevent, a tragedy.
Right. And we really ask that parents help us talk to their children. We all talk to our children about the dangers of alcohol, the dangers of tobacco and drugs, but how many of us really stop and talk to our kids about the dangers of playing with a gun and how dangerous it is? It's something simple like that. We don't give children credit. They know way more than what we think they know. They're curious beyond measure. And so to help prevent these accidents, we really encourage you to talk to your children, maybe even when they go to a neighbor's house or a friend's house, to ask that homeowner if they have firearms, if they're secured. We've had many accidents where a parent has sent their child off to a family member's house or a neighbor or a best friend, and accidents have happened at that house because of an unsecured gun. One thing that our program does offer is if you have a firearm that is unsecured, it's not locked, you don't have a gun lock for it, we can provide you with a free lock. You would just need to call. You can call me at the office. My number is 225-389-0443, and we can set you up with that. Also, if you would like us to present to your child's group, whether it be a school or some sort of organized activity, our presentations are usually about 30 or 45 minutes, free of charge, so we can certainly come out and do that as well. At the end, what we do, and we are not able to show you here today, because we've talked to the children about how dangerous these guns are, and we want them to see it for themselves. We want them to understand that TV and video games and movies, it's not reality. So we bring with us this bulletproof trailer with a viewing glass on one side, and Sergeant Firmin shoots a watermelon for them to see the devastating effects, how fast it happens and how loud it is, and how once a bullet hits something, it's destroyed, and you can't take that back. So
it's a very interactive program. We're proud of it. We've been doing it for about 3 years. So like Holly said, if you have any questions, contact her at the number, and we'll see about maybe trying to come out to your event or function.